Kenya Moore is sorry for exposing RHOA castmate. I didn't have to take it that far. Although the newest season of The Real Housewives of Atlanta has yet to air, Kenya Moore is already apologizing for the actions that earned her a suspension. Season 16 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, RHOA, will premiere sometime in 2025, but Kenya's alleged actions during filming have put her on pause with the network. Sometimes Bravo pauses stars in shows instead of outright firing or canceling them, as they did with Dorinda Medley and The Real Housewives of Dubai. Kenya Moore is a self-proclaimed shade assassin who has perfected her approach. For example, she interrupted Marlo Hampton's wig party with her marching band, shouting, "Kenya Moore hair care." Die-hard fans of RHOA will sing Kenya Moore hair care to themselves as they remember that funny scene from season 12. This time, instead of coming in with a marching band, Kenya allegedly got her point across by posting risk pics of newcomer Brittany Edie, which caused Bravo to investigate. Kenya Moore says she is sorry for taking things that far. Season 16 of RHOA features a newcomer, Brittany Edie, an insurance expert, podcast host, author, and CEO of the brand Courageous Collection, who has signed on for a peach. As most new housewives like to do, Brittany set her sights on one of the veteran housewives to fight with, and Kenya felt that she was the target. Kenya sat down with Tamron Hall and explained the events leading up to her suspension on Bravo. Kenya told Tamron a harrowing tale of Brittany's intimidation, including screaming and the tearing off microphones, as season 16 filming began. She was concerned and scared. Kenya repeatedly asked Bravo for help with the situation, and when she felt she was talking to a brick wall, she took matters into her own hands. After researching and allegedly finding photos of Brittany in sexually explicit situations online, she printed them out and put them on the walls at her hair salon. Kenya told Tamron that she knew Bravo could not show graphic photos on the air, and they would be blurred out, but it would serve to get back at Brittany. After explaining everything, Kenya said, "I am sorry for what I've done. I didn't have to take it that far." Hindsight is always 20/20 in these cases. What is not clear is whether Kenya is sorry that her alleged actions resulted in her suspension from Bravo, or if she is sad that she hurt Brittany. Kenya and her daughter share their new book. Kenya's recent visit to the Tamron Hall show to apologize for going too far in her feud with Brittany Edie included her daughter Brooklyn. Kenya and Brooklyn have the book Brooklyn Bound, Paris, which they both promoted during Kenya's suspension from RHOA. Kenya Moore had always prided herself on being the queen of shade, the undisputed provocateur of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Over the years, she had mastered the art of the clapback, wielding her sharp tongue like a weapon, but sometimes even queens had regrets. This time, the drama had spiraled too far. The incident that sparked it all started during a dinner at a luxury villa in Turks and Caicos, the latest backdrop for the RHOA cast's explosive vacation drama. What had begun as a lighthearted game of Never Have I Ever quickly turned into a battlefield. Kandi Burruss had innocently posed a question about secrets in the group, prompting Kenya to smirk knowingly. "Oh, I definitely know some secrets," she teased, her eyes darting toward her newest frenemy, Marlo Hampton. Marlo, never one to back down, rolled her eyes. "Girl, just say what you're gonna say. I'm not scared of you." That was all the encouragement Kenya needed. "Well, since you asked," she began, her tone dripping with fox sweetness, "how about we talk about that little situation you had last year? You know, the one involving..." The room collectively gasped as Kenya revealed intimate details about Marlo's financial struggles, including an alleged behind-the-scenes fallout with a wealthy benefactor. Marlo's face flushed with anger and embarrassment, but Kenya wasn't finished. "And let's not forget how you tried to hide it from us, acting like you're so fabulous when you were barely holding it together." The table fell silent, the air thick with tension. Even the normally unflappable Kandi looked uncomfortable. Marlo, her voice trembling, muttered, "You didn't have to take it there, Kenya." But Kenya had already crossed the line. The backlash. The fallout was immediate. Social media exploded with fans taking sides, some praising Kenya for being real and others calling her out for being unnecessarily cruel. Marlo, meanwhile, didn't hold back in her confessional. "Kenya's always talking about being classy and having boundaries, but clearly those rules don't apply to her. She's just a bully with a crown. When the group returned to Atlanta, the tension lingered. Kenya began to feel the weight of her actions, especially when Cynthia Bailey, her longtime ally, gently confronted her. "Kenya, I love you. But that was too much," Cynthia said over coffee. "Marlo's done her fair share of shady things, but airing out her personal business like that, you know that's not cool." At first, Kenya was defensive. She dared me to say it, and it's not like it wasn't true. "But was it worth it?" Cynthia pressed. "Look at what it's doing to the group. To you." The moment of reflection. Kenya's breaking point came during a sit-down with her therapist. As she recounted the incident, she felt a pang of guilt she couldn't ignore. "I felt like I had to defend myself," Kenya admitted. "Marlo's always coming for me, questioning my character, my relationships. I just snapped." The therapist nodded thoughtfully. "It sounds like you were reacting out of hurt, but in doing so, you caused hurt. Do you think there's a part of you that regrets it?" Kenya hesitated before sighing. "Yes. I hate to admit it, but I went too far. I didn't have to expose her like that. It wasn't fair." The apology. Determined to make things right, Kenya decided to apologize. She invited Marlo to a chic rooftop restaurant, hoping the neutral territory would diffuse some of the tension. As Marlo arrived, her guarded expression made it clear she wasn't ready to forgive easily. Kenya wasted no time. "Marlo, before we even start, I want to say I'm sorry. I let my emotions get the best of me and I crossed a line. You didn't deserve that." Marlo raised an eyebrow, clearly skeptical. "Why now, Kenya? You had no problem dragging me in front of everyone. What's changed?" "I've had time to think," Kenya said earnestly, "and I realized that I was wrong. I was trying to hurt you because I felt attacked, but that's not who I want to be. I don't expect you to forgive me right away, but I needed to say this." For a moment, Marlo said nothing. Then, she leaned back in her chair and sighed. "Kenya, you've done a lot of messy things over the years, but this one cut deep. I'm not saying I forgive you yet, but I respect that you're owning up to it." It wasn't a full reconciliation, but it was a start. The group reacts. Word of Kenya's apology quickly spread through the group. Some, like Cynthia and Candy, were relieved. "It's about time Kenya took responsibility for something," Candy said with a chuckle. Others, like Sherry Whitfield, remained skeptical. "Kenya's great at apologizing when it suits her," Sherry quipped. "But let's see if she can actually change." Even Marlo, in her confessional, admitted she was cautiously optimistic. Kenya saying sorry was a shock, but actions speak louder than words. Let's see if she can walk the walk. A lesson learned. For Kenya, the experience was humbling. She began to reflect on her role in the group and how her actions affected others. During a heartfelt moment at the season finale party, she addressed the entire cast. "This year I've learned a lot about myself," Kenya said, holding back tears. "I've realized that sometimes in trying to protect myself, I hurt others. And for that, I'm sorry. To Marlo, to all of you, I'm going to do better." The group, visibly moved, erupted in applause. Even Marlo offered a small smile. In her final confessional of the season, Kenya summed it up best. "Being on The Real Housewives of Atlanta means navigating friendships, drama, and everything in between. I'm not perfect, but I'm learning, and I hope that counts for something." As the season wrapped, fans were left with a rare glimpse of Kenya Moore's vulnerable side. Whether her apology marked a turning point or just another chapter in her dramatic getaway journey, one thing was certain: Kenya's reign as the Queen of Shade was far from over. But perhaps now, it came with a little more heart.